Okay, here we go. All right, welcome. So thank you for joining us for this presentation, Changing Course, Anchoring Ideas in Repurposed Materials. This is the second of two artist talks for our current exhibition at Cabrillo Gallery, Navigators, Art, Photography, and Art History Faculty and Staff Exhibition. In this talk, 6 current and retired Cabrillo faculty and staff will discuss their artwork in the Navigators Exhibition. I am Beverly Rayner. I am the gallery director and curator at Cabrillo Gallery. And with me tonight is my colleague, Victoria May, who is the art gallery coordinator. I'm going to introduce the individual artists now. First up, we have Angela Gleason. Wave to us, Angela. All right. Angela has a Master of Fine Arts in Jewelry and Metalsmithing at Central Washington University in Ellensburg, Washington. She has been teaching jewelry and small metals at Cabrillo for 25 years?
20.
Is that right?
20.
20, okay.
Maybe 19.
Jamie Abbott. Let's wave to us, Jamie. Jamie's absorbed. Hi, Jamie.
Hi.
All right. Jamie has an MFA and a BFA in sculpture from San Francisco Art Institute. He's a professor emeritus at Cabrillo. He taught sculpture at Cabrillo for 39 years. Next up is Jane Gregorius. Give us a little wave, Jane. Jane has an MFA in printmaking at California State University, Long Beach, a Bachelor of Science in Art Education at the University of Nebraska in Lincoln, is Professor Emerita at Cabrillo College and taught printmaking here for 25 years. Lynda Watson. Wave to us, Lynda. There you go. All right, Lynda has an MFA and a BFA from California State University in Long Beach. She's a Professor Emerita. She established the jewelry and small metals program at Cabrillo in what year, Lynda?
1970.
Yeah, 1970. She taught at Cabrillo for 25 years. She taught in the jewelry and small metals and started out in, what was it? Some kind of illustration, not an illustration. When you started at Cabrillo, you were doing something else? Yeah.
Lettering.
Lettering, yeah, okay. Gina Pearlin, wave to us, Gina. Gina has an MFA at San Jose State University and a BFA at Syracuse University in Syracuse, New York. She has taught drawing, painting, 2D design, and color at Cabrillo for 15 years. Janet Fine. Hello, Janet. Janet has a BA in art with an emphasis on photography at UC Santa Cruz, and she also did a 5th year there in the grad program. She has been the very beloved Cabrillo Photography Department lab technician for 22 years, and she was recently hired as one of our instructors in photography. Welcome, everybody. So now we're going to start our slideshow. I'm going to give Vic a minute to get that started.
Oh. Okay, turn yourself so you can see yourself. Well, I won't because of the way it lays out anyway, but.
Okay. So the Navigators Exhibition is what's in our gallery, or what's in our online gallery right now. Every year, Cabrillo presents a faculty exhibition. Sometimes it's a sabbatical show. Sometimes it's an exhibition that honors recent retirees. And most often it's a group show, and such as Navigators, that invites all of the faculty and staff to participate. This year, we have just over 30 artists in the show in multiple media. The theme this year reflects the challenges that we've all faced navigating life during this very difficult and weird year, and particularly for educators who have had to work incredibly hard in trying to figure out how to teach art online. Next slide. If you would like to see the Navigators exhibition, all of our exhibitions are online right now. Victoria has put the links in the chat to the right. When we're done with this, you can get them there, and they're also on this page. So there's a link to the page where we have the online gallery for the exhibition and also links to the videos that are in the exhibition. And there will also be the recordings of the talks will be on that page as well. And you can also follow us on Instagram and Facebook. Next slide.
And just for the record, I wasn't able to paste those in yet, so they'll be in there at the end.
Okay, great. So you can also find information about our next show, the wildly popular 12 by 12 that most of you are familiar with, online only again, like the other shows this year. You can find the link to info on the gallery webpage, homepage, and in the chat. And it's also on this page. All right, next slide. Is it loaded? It's not. Oh, there we go. Okay. Today's talk is titled Changing Course, Anchoring Ideas in Repurposed Materials. The artists in this talk employ a fascinating array of approaches to repurposing the objects and materials they choose to work with. From creating assemblage or video from materials encountered in surrounding environments, to transforming vintage album covers with cryptic painted vignettes, to literally upcycling refuse from a landfill into a portable tiny house, to reconstituting the accumulations of lifelong careers in art into new artworks. Next slide. And our first presenter is Angela Gleason. Take it away, Angela.
Okay, so this was a very unusual project for me. I'm trained as a jeweler. I trained with Lynda Watson at Cabrillo, and then I went on to my master's in jewelry, and I teach mostly jewelry and some sculpture. And I have always dreamed of participating in the scrap program at the dump. And so I applied, but I knew that I couldn't trust myself. As you can see from my background, I like a busy world, but I didn't want to collect a lot of cool stuff that I had no place for. So I proposed this idea with Shelly, my partner. Wave, Shelly. And we decided we were going to attempt to make a small shelter in the 4 months that we were allowed to scrounge at the dump. And so that was Metal Mountain, and here's Wood Mountain. And I had no idea what it looked like up there until I had already been accepted. But every day you'd go in this huge mountain of wood, and then the metal, and then there was also the tipping area, and you pretty much could take anything you wanted. So Shelly and I started by having to build a trailer, and that took a bit of time, first 3 weeks in order to get that built and licensed, because it had to be able to be transported and put in the gallery at the Blitzer in the Wrigley building. So there's the trailer. It's a 4x8, a little Harbor Freight trailer. So I did have to buy that new because I was short on time. And here we are starting to build, and we had to scrounge all the wood. Pretty much everything else came from the dump, a few friends' yards, and the Restore also helped me with some stuff. So we built up, and then we wanted it to be bigger than 4x8. So we went out a foot, and that was challenging. There's some braces you can see that they weren't quite strong enough. So my wonderful friend, Roy Holberg, had suggested we needed better brackets, and he helped build those. It really took a village. So basically the whole thing was 3 months really. And this is out in the driveway here at where I live with. So next. Then we went up. There's Shelly and I with 3 walls. And so we decided that little up and over would be like a little seat. And we found windows. That was challenging, finding windows that didn't weigh too much. There's a weight limit on the trailer. And again, this is all way out of my comfort zone. Shelly has the construction skills. And she would say, can't we just go buy this 2x4? And I'd be like, no, we have to find it at the dump. Off to the dump we would go. And we did find a few other treasures. And it was very weird to design with an unknown end. One of the best finds was this is all my friends, I would put out these calls and friends would come. We found the sheet metal from an old metal swimming pool, from an old, like a doughboy swimming pool. And so I had a bunch of friends come and we wrapped it around and it fit with one cut. And we had to hold it up and screw it up, and it's beautiful. And part of my goal was that it it would be made from trash, but it wouldn't look like trash. And Shelley and I had to build the door because we couldn't find a door that was the right size and also the weight. And so and then we went with old redwood fencing for the second sort of look. And so we built that door, which was very challenging for both of us. And the window was from the Restore, and it was very odd, a lot of delayed gratification. Next. Next. There we go. We had to build the roof, and it had to be removable because we also had to fit this in an elevator. Once we got it with including the trailer, we had to get it in the elevator. So the roof, again, was all made from the dump and recycled, except for the top, the clear plastic. We ended up having to buy it because we were running out of time and the rains were coming. So we did need a roof. And so that's aluminum siding is old recycled printing plates, which I love to use. I used to be a printer. So, and you can see the wall behind it is what my decorating style is. So you can see that I definitely have a hoarding tendency. So this was a lot of self-discipline. Okay, next.
I think there's a slight delay.
Oh, that's okay. And there's, it took a village. That's one day when we put the roof up. All these friends came, and it was quite an interesting experience. We had tilted on its side and get it up there on top. And then we had some brackets to bolt it on. And so I just appreciate all my friends who helped build it. And next.
I'm going to start the video.
Yeah, there's the finished piece in the gallery, and it's called La Casita de Basura. And it's, yeah, go ahead. And there's a little short video Shelley made while it was in the gallery. And I think it's going to turn out to be my teaching space come this spring when I'm going to be teaching online. I think I'll have a little online workbench in there. So there's the trailer end. We even found that wonderful diamond plate box. And then, let's see. And the words are some recycled or leftover vinyl that I had, and they cut it for me at the Cabrillo high-tech lab. And then the inside is really cute. Has little wall sconces and a little couch, and that's it. Thanks.
All right, next up is Jamie Abbott.
Hi, how is everybody?
We're okay, Jamie.
Are you able to see the images, Jamie?
No, I can't see anything, so I'm gonna have to you're just gonna have to tell me what I'm looking at, and I'll kind of go from there.
So it's the redwood.
I think we're starting
trees.
off, are we starting off with a little house up on the hill?
The
Yes.
Does it look
trees, yeah, with the porch.
Oh, okay, well, I'll just tell you that the first, I think it's the first 4 slides you're gonna see are his Rancho Isabella, which used to be a ranch. At one time, they raised livestock there, and a variety of things. Now it is, we have chickens, and we have 73 acres of redwoods and other open land. And one of the things so a lot has changed for me, coming from kind of an urban setting to being in the country. One road in, one road out, and the changes have been pretty significant as far as reflected on my artwork. It took me a while when I opened up a new studio there. I have 2 studio spaces. It took a while to kind of get acclimated to living and working in the same spot. So that was probably one of the most difficult things to kind of reinvent. But I've now, after about 1.5 years, started to get into the groove. I think the pandemic really kind of helped because it kind of forced me to stay, not necessarily more at home, but it kind of brought a lot of things more close to me as far as materials. Are you onto the pieces at all, or are we still on the? landscape.
We're still on the landscape a little bit.
Okay.
But
That's fine. That's fine. One of the things that I do on the ranch is in charge of maintaining a very large warehouse, and we have boat trailer parking up there. So I have now become gone back into like a new business. It's called AA Storage, and Lori and I together kind of manage that part of the ranch. And so I set my day up with stuff that I do around the ranch, and then the rest of the time I'm in the studio. So
okay, we're on your piece now.
okay, so the piece that you're looking at is kind of a culmination of materials. I have a lot of wood up there. Prior to moving up to the ranch, I was working with steel, but I had also had a background in working with wood. So one of the things that I kind of got back into doing was working with wood and making boxes, finding kind of different types of wood, working with surfaces, working with textures. And at the same time that was, you know, kind of front and center in my work, I was also kind of maintaining the property. And one of the things that really kind of became evident to me was that I had a lot of work to do as far as picking up after people. People can be notoriously dirty and inconsiderate at times. And so what you see hanging in the center of the piece is a pelt or a neck piece. You can kind of look at it in a lot of different ways. It's like an abstract painting, but it's a collection of cans that I would pick up on a kind of a not daily basis, but kind of semi-daily basis, which I, after a while, thought, I think I could do something with these, you know? So I started to cut them up, particularly ones that were a little bit exotic or ones that were more reflective on something that was a kind of a continual problem, particularly the cans were the monster cans, black and green cans. They became a significant issue for me. But anyway, I made this piece out of them that I hung inside the box that you see in the show. Now that kind of also reflects back on the nature that I'm kind of, the natural environment that I'm involved in up there. There's lots of beautiful oaks and lots of redwoods, of course. There's apple orchards. There's, I mean, so much land to walk on and to kind of explore that. It's just, it's part mystery, really. But so I needed to kind of incorporate that in there. So part of the piece has a map of the property demarcation lines, essentially. It kind of covers both sides of Ryder Road and goes far into the hills. And then I have a section of wood in there. I haven't been pruning down a lot of trees, and in the process of doing that, of course, I save pieces that I know I'm going to use later, but I have no idea what I'm going to use them for. But of course, you know, as an art medium, I can't throw anything away, really. And then the other thing that's about the piece that's on the bottom that's also very curious is that there's a lot of sand up there, and every time it would rain, I would discover a new piece of a new treasure, I should say, in the sand. And so I've spent a lot of time, as I have done in the past, picking up small objects. I used to do that a lot when I lived in town. I would constantly walk around picking up, you know, small parts of a can or a piece of plastic, whatever. So all of those little pieces that are hanging on the bottom are parts of just little treasures that I picked up out of the sand as I walk around up there. And of course, they are entering the piece. This is really the kind of the start of a new series for me. I have 9 more pieces kind of in progress right now. And most of them actually honor, whether they're small or large, different materials. They become kind of like little honorariums for not so much a lifestyle up there, but just an observation, really. And I'm trying to, you know, work my way back, and I have 2 studios set there. I have one that's kind of dedicated for working with metal. So I'm kind of getting back into working with that material, but I find it particularly fascinating right now to kind of focus myself on the boxes and on the containers and dealing with simple things like textural contrast, dealing with color, and really just dealing with presentation. Thank you. Can any of you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay.
You sound great.
I didn't know how far. It's kind of hard not looking at the work, but I really don't have anything more to say about the piece.
Beautiful, Jamie. Yeah, Jamie, very cool.
I'm still,
Jamie,
this is hilarious. I'm still looking at the square that says waiting.
oh, sorry. Well, we'll give you a recording afterwards, okay? So you can see what you
that would be
didn't
great.
see.
Yeah, thank you.
The wonders of Zoom. Okay, next up is Jane Gregorius. Thank you, Jamie.
You're welcome.
Okay, everybody, I wanted to say thank you, Victoria and Beverly and Cabrillo College and so forth for inviting me to this show and then to this talk too. And I think the show is excellent. I recommend that you visit a few times. Really good. So Vic, will you run through these things just really fast? These are a series of pieces that I was doing, and I thought I was supposed to be doing something as a lead up to this. So just please go through these sort of like a second at a time. Okay, so these are pieces of prints that I made. They're photopolymer prints. I made them off of photographs and keep going. And and then I cut everything out, and I love this way of working. So I had more, keep going. I had just tons and tons of things from every kind of paper possible. And, but I kept the colors really muted, and it's about the birds and there's 3 billion of them that are missing from the last 30 years. So anyway, keep going, Vic. And so on, and these birds are in a lot of trouble, and this is part of that. And then I did the outsides. At the end, I did the outsides of the birds too. The negative space, which I really loved. Anyway, so let's go to what we're doing now. Okay, so this is the piece in the show. And I just want to say that the COVID pandemic has brought many people into serious contact with their pasts as they rifle through years of precious or anyhow saved accumulations of articles, papers, letters, photographs, and stuff that they could not or would not toss into final oblivion. As we shelter in place, separating ourselves from the possible dangerous world around us, surely more than a few people decided to sort through 30 years or so of square footage of paraphernalia while they can't work. They can't concentrate and shouldn't go outside. I am joining this army of explorers. This is interesting. Whatever can I do with this lace, that piece of paper, ruler, that paper that cost me more than my lunch years ago when I couldn't even afford lunch? How about those neat presents someone gave me from exotic trips of 25 years past? So I'm making art out of all of it and just starting. So this piece is number 2 in the series. And I may not get really so far, but I'm working on it, but I'm going to try this out. So in my studio, things percolate up, and I'm not kidding. I'm not proud of this. I found an old window shade, and there's lots of material here. I love it. Very, very old. It's kind of rotting away, and I love that. And then I sewed buttons on this as a kind of fasteners to fasten the left side of the piece to the right side. The photograph is of me as a 4-year-old, and is a Purell transfer thanks to Janet Fine. She came to my rescue there. And the 4 packages at the bottom are leftover pieces from attempting monotypes. And I had bought, of course, a long time ago, a huge wheel of twine. So that became part of the packages, and then hanging on to the feathers. And I turned out that this was a candle wick. Okay, Vic. The next one. Anyway, these are called Resurrection of the Past. So this is the very first one. I just wanted to show you this because it's all the cool stuff that's sometimes laying on the floor in my studio. There's silk screened paper, There's actually silk screen material itself. That beigey kind of piece is part of the shade, the window shade. I think that's going to be on everything. And then there's some brass tacks, and it's about like I love fascinating things with ties or some other way besides glue. Something I wanted to point out on the right hand side, midway up, is a little piece of a yellow fabric. And this is from the artist Christo's Central Park piece, which is called The Gates. And then the slide that is dangling on the left-hand side is a photograph of this. And it was kind of like saying goodbye to Christo, who had just died. And I was talking to my friend in Vail, Colorado. Both of us had worked on several of the Christo projects. And he said that these little swatches of fabric are selling on eBay or whatever for $50 a square inch. That makes this piece valuable. But anyhow, I guess, Vic, why don't you just go to the next one? And here's the number 3 one coming up sometime. There it is. So this one is just, I'm just laying out this. It's kind of what I'm going to do next. And whoops, there's no shade on there, but oh well, there can be. And I put a little box halfway up on the left-hand side of pins, just to show you a little bit of the scale. And there's a zipper that's going to run down the middle, and that's going to, again, attach one side to another side. And then as I was just looking at this, I looked down, and here on the left-hand, way on the left-hand side at the bottom, is a picture of Joey Fine, Janet Fine's daughter. And I laid it in there, and I took the picture, and this piece is not finished. It's not together at all yet. And then I felt bad. Like, was I swiping Janet's picture? But we worked it out. I think we're okay. Okay, so that's what I'm up to right now. Thank you for listening.
All right, thank you, Jane. All right, next up is Lynda Watson. Are you muted, Lynda?
Muted us. Sorry, we were
Okay.
chatting.
This large neck piece is called Looking Back. Over a year ago now, I got a call from the National Metal Museum in Memphis, Tennessee, telling me that I had been selected to be the museum's master metalsmith for 2022. The honor comes with a large retrospective exhibition, a catalog or book of the artist's work, and a public lecture and a guest artist stint at the museum. The Master Metalsmith Show opens during a big annual celebration at the museum that is called Repair Days. And metals people, jewelers, metalsmiths, blacksmiths from all over the country attend it. So naturally, I started thinking, I'm going to be there talking, what kind of jewelry do I wear to a gathering like this? So I decided after some thought that I needed to make and wear a retrospective piece. So since the show would include 50 years of my own work. Okay, so the work that I do is about the things I experience and the places I go. I remember and record them with the jewelry and the drawings that I make. So for this piece, I started doing small pencil drawings of details from pieces I've made in the past. I framed the drawings of each piece differently with silver or fine silver, and then I used clear acrylic sheet to cover the drawings on both sides, making little two-sided pendants. So each one of the little drawings you see is two-sided. There's a drawing of the same piece on both sides. I also collected elements I had used in original pieces: coins, shells, stones, various metal parts, some found and some made. I had a hard time stopping. I kept finding more pieces I wanted to include. What I thought at first would be a bracelet ended up being a huge neck piece, a big jangly one. I had to put 2 chains together to provide enough links to attach everything. I will wear this to my opening, you know, provided the COVID doesn't shut it down. Okay, Number one, now this is slide number one, so this is good. The drawing that you see here is called Maui Birthdays, and it's about a week spent in Maui at a beautiful resort that I could never have afforded myself to celebrate my mom's 90th birthday. The drawings are from where we stayed, and the fish are from the aquarium. I drew every fish that was in the aquarium. And the puka shells are from a secret place that I was told about by somebody who worked at the hotel, who made me promise not to ever tell anyone else where I found them. Okay, next. Okay, the one at the top is called Baja with the Boys. And this one came from a camping trip that was pre-Yuma to the east side of the Baja Peninsula. The other woman who was supposed to go with us canceled at the last minute. So it was me and 3 male friends. There are shells collected on the piece that came from that place, and other things that we saw. Significant for me was the fact that they refused to camp anywhere where there was a shower or a toilet. So as it turned out, I took the longest shower of my life when I got to Yuma. Okay, and the next piece that's over on the right here is from a piece that is called Prayer Candles at Chamula. Chamula is a village in Chiapas, and we visited during a festival. The floor of the church was covered with straw, and there were candles burning everywhere, which really freaked me out because it looked like it was just gonna go into a huge inferno. Some kind of healing was taking place in there that involved Coca-Cola and chickens, live chickens. And I think it had to do with burping the Coca-Cola and getting rid of whatever the malady was. Okay, next. Okay, the one at the top is Megan's birthday, Salt Spring Island. We went to the Canadian San Juans to celebrate Megan's 50th birthday. And it was really just like a beautiful retreat. We did some kayaking, some shopping, and just enjoyed the sunsets. And the piece on the right-hand side is from a piece called Cape Cod Remembered. And these are some of the things that I remembered from spending lots and lots of time on Cape Cod. A flag from clamshells on the road to the beach. A horseshoe crab that came to California very stinky, and a paddle from our canoe. So everything on all of this, everything on all of these pieces and on this neck piece has a story, and those are a few of the stories. I may end up making more, this may end up getting denser, who knows, but basically this is my retrospective neck piece. Thank you.
Excellent. Thank you, Lynda. All right, next up is Gina Pearlin.
Okay, hi. So when I begin a painting, I really don't have an idea as to what it might be about or what it might ultimately express. In fact, I don't even want to know, because for me, the joy of creating is in getting out of my own head and just seeing what emerges. So therefore, I am in a constant search for some sort of central image that grabs me enough to want to stay with it and to also build on it. And I'm also looking for the right kind of surface or format that will best support my imagery. Because sometimes actually the surface itself will act as a point of departure and stimulate an idea for an image. My imagination needs lots of prompts. For the past, I don't know, about 25 years, I've been painting and drawing on old book covers, book pages, sheet music, tin signs from India, and most recently on record album covers. So the covers are selected for their visual information that can be a point of departure or inspiration. For example, the color, the graphics, the text, and or the name of the composer, the sound of the name. the imagery really has not much or virtually nothing to do with the music that the the album contains. Anyway, this particular album cover was selected for the nature of its color and graphics. I was initially attracted to the hot pink on the bottom, and after it sat around in my studio for a while, I finally decided that it would be a good vehicle for this image of a face contained in a structure. And this happens to be a recurring motif for me. So to figure out the composition, I experimented with the image by taking photocopies of the head that I found and putting it in constructed black paper cutouts of different kinds of structures, and then positioning it on the album cover to see till I finally arrived at some sort of composition that I liked. Next. So I begin by going to Goodwill, where I like to find old records. It's only $2. I don't like spending much more than that, so it doesn't become too precious. I'm kind of picky though. I like older album covers that have good graphics I can use, not too glossy, et cetera, et cetera. Next. So this is one in process. This one I picked because I really like the orange of the on the bottom and the graphics, plus the kind of weird pinky beige background that I tried to approximate by mixing a color and painting it over it. I always seal the back and front with acrylic varnish first before I put on the oil paint. So this is sitting in my studio waiting for something more to happen with it. Next. This is one of the first ones that I did. It was actually the phase 4 graphics on it that got me going on it. Plus the color of the album was kind of dingy and it sort of fit with my imagery. Next. This one, I enjoyed the Smetana Dvorak on bright orange. The whole album was bright orange, and I thought that it warranted a very tumultuous gray background, which I put in, plus an image that's based on an actual hotel in Kiev. It's a brutalist building, one of the hardest things I've ever painted, by the way. I was surprised when I actually listened to some of the music afterwards, and it was more lyrical than heavy. But anyway, I thought it would be nice to do a series of brutalist buildings, and I wanted to try another one on the same album. So I actually was able to locate another album. Next. Same album. But by the time I doinked around with it, I couldn't find another building I liked, and I got bored with the whole brutalist building thing for the moment. And so it sat around in my studio until very recently when I had this vision of a yellow canary. Next. In this album cover, after I painted on the image of the head in the coal cart or whatever it is in the background and stuff, I decided I needed to wipe out most of the graphics on the bottom and just leave the number 1. It kind of evoked something for me. I don't know what or why, but it seemed to fit. Next. For this, this one, I was really drawn to the color yellow, a very electric yellow. It kind of fit my mood. So I developed this image in relationship to the color yellow of the album. Next. So I haven't only been working on album covers. I've returned to doing some paintings on sheet music. And if any former students are looking at this, they might recognize this because I had them do a project on the sheet music with micron pens. But anyway, I paint on it. So it begins something like this. This piece of sheet music, by the way, is about 100 years old. So I coat it, back and front with the acrylic varnish. Next. Then I block out the area that I want to paint, usually with a coat of acrylic first before I go over it with oil. Next. And then search for the image that I think will go with it. And I chose this, I thought it fit. And also I wanted the challenge of just losing myself in the detail of the reflections. So that's about it. That's really it. And if you're interested in seeing any more of my work on found materials, books, signs, papers, so forth, you can go to my website, ginapearlin.com. Thank you.
Thank you, Gina. And we'll have the artist websites in the chat and in the slideshow towards the end. All right, next up is Janet Fine.
All right. The problem child at the end, because I have to share my screen. First off, I want to say thank you all for coming. It's amazing. The silver lining to this is that my mom from LA and my brother from Minneapolis and friends from Northampton, Washington, and Chicago are all here. So thank you all for coming. And okay, I am going to share my screen. I tried to clean up my desktop just in case. All right, let me do video, optimize for video. All right, can you guys see? Is that all so far so good? And you can hear me? Yes? Okay.
Looks good. Looks good.
Okay. I have a really good timekeeper because my piece is about 5 minutes. And normally I don't like to read, but I am going to start with my statement because it kind of goes nicely with it. And then I'll talk and then I won't. Demons, clowns, and thieves gathered with me. I did not pursue this project, it found me. In a time of unprecedented misery, corruption, greed, lies, anxiety, suffering, injustice, pandemic, destruction, violence, and racism, apathy, terror, hatred, personal addiction, and fire. The only things to bring me solace during this time were swimming in the ocean and playing piano and walking. Creating visual art only came freely when making snail mail for others. Until a smoky, dark day, with the Bay Area burning, walking the seascape beach. The faces appeared, and I just couldn't stop seeing them. "2020, a year like no other." Some of you were at the beach that day. We all kind of went nuts over the beauty of those lines. They were like rich charcoal drawings, so dark, alluring, and expressive, yet burdened with tragedy, of grief and loss, and Santa Cruz burning. The faces just started speaking to me. All personalities, characters, monsters. It was hard to stop, as some of you hikers know who are here. It's a little obsessed. I then loved the way the hundreds of images looked tiled on my phone. And at first I just played and I made these little diptychs, kind of like these little fire conversations. But then I thought, with this pandemic exhibition held online, I took the opportunity to go a less traveled path for me. And so animating these became my next obsession. Immersed for hours, days in my room, figuring out which profile should meld into which character and who talks to who. Thank goodness there was a due date, because there are many more scoundrels left to add. Uh-oh, it's still going. Did it go off?
Thank you, Janet. Do you have anything else to say?
Wait. I thought Vic just, oh, sorry, I'm back.
She's putting the slideshow back on.
I just had two, just because people wanted to know. There's just kind of a reveal picture. If you.
Yeah. Oh, no.
Yeah.
So this is just to show people, there's some of you people are here, are in the picture, and how gorgeous we were all just, like you can even see on the one on the right, how the faces are just there. They're just there. And so we all enjoyed that quite a bit. As sad as it was, we all knew people who are affected by the fire, and yeah, intense. I think there was one picture, I don't know if she has it, of the tiling, and that's it. Let's see. You have it, Vic May, or no?
Yeah, it's all coming a bit slowly. You guys are seeing it much later than when I changed it.
But you could see how fun it was to just see all the characters, and there are a lot more. And they were still there a little bit the next weeks, but now it's, today I noticed that the whitewater makes faces too, but they're not quite as ominous. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Janet. All right, so that's, we're getting close to the end of our slideshow. We just have one more slide, right, Vic?
Yeah, so here's the artist sites, and then they're also in the chat now.
So next we're going to have a Q&A. And again, if you don't want to talk out loud, you can always put a question in the chat. And but if you do want to actually speak your question, then we'll try to find you in the grid and call you out. So wave your hand wildly or something, and we'll try to find you. Or and please unmute yourself while you do that, okay?
No, that's
Are there any questions in the chat, Vic, did you see?
Nope.
we're not muted anymore.
Okay. Does anybody have a question?
I could ask a question if nobody else has one.
Okay.
Okay, why don't you start, Vic? Get the ball rolling.
I'm just, my question is for Gina. And can you talk a little bit about the humor in your work?
Like what?
That's what I mean. You talk about looking for these materials and then just finding these images. But like the television on the music score, like that you chose like a 50s television,
Yeah.
there's always an absurdity in your work. And that's what and it's always, there's always a bit of humor. And I just wondered if you could speak to that a little bit.
Well, I'm not really trying, to make something humorous, but I guess I do enjoy absurdity. And also, I just, I don't want to beat anyone over the head with like angst-filled imagery, or, even if it is a metaphor for, my thoughts and feelings and states of mind and everything, whatever. Yeah, I guess the humor, I like to laugh. I guess the humor just comes through.
So you want to dispel the angst with a little bit of silliness?
No, I'm not on purpose. No.
Okay. Well, thank you.
This comes naturally.
A question for Jane. Who was the bird model? Jane, you need to unmute yourself.
I found that bird when I was walking with our walking group that we go with on Mondays. And we were just learning how to do photopolymer plates in the studio at the tannery. There's 20 of us that have a studio together, printmaking studio. And I took a picture of it among a zillion other pictures I had. And when I printed it out onto mylar acetate and put it onto a plate and printed it, it just was gorgeous. Now that had nothing to do with me. It was just a total accident that this thing looked so good. And so I printed it. It was a dead bird. I printed it. It was wonderful. I printed again and again and again. And then it was kind of like, yeah. So that's when I started cutting it out and making it into what ended up being about 75 prints. And I don't know what it is. People say, oh, what kind of bird is that? It's like, oh.
I thought it was kind of really important. There was something about the bird presence, the physique, the proportions. There was just something about the wholeness, intactness of the dead bird. I loved it.
Oh, Elizabeth, thank you. I mean, it is a beautiful bird. I love it. And to me, it stands for, we know all of the stuff that's wrong with the climate and everything. So yeah, but thank you.
Can anybody hear me?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. My screen is frozen, so I feel like I have no control whatsoever right now.
Do you want to make me the
can't
host,
even move
Beverly?
around. I can't even do that. I'm sorry.
Oh,
We can hear you,
I've just
but
got
you're
the spinning
dark.
wheel of death. Yeah. So I've got some kind of connectivity problem. So I can't control anything now. Vic, take it away. If you could manage the questions, that'd be great.
Yeah, I'm looking at them. No, there's no, are there any other live questions out in the audience? If anyone has a question, please raise your hand.
I do.
Raise your hand.
Oh, raise my hand.
Sounds
Who's
like
that?
Janice Laverne.
Oh, Janice, hi.
Janice. Hi, dears. I just want to know why you all are so wonderful in Santa Cruz. I am so blown away. And, you know, all of you, your work just, it moved me. Those of you I know and those that I don't know. And, oh my God, you're so great. And this is Jimmy, our foster dog.
Yay.
Anyway, that's all I have to say. I just want to tell you just how highly I regard you.
Come home, Janice.
Yeah, come back.
Janice.
Come
You
to
fit in.
Titan.
Yeah.
Janice, you fit in really well here. So
Thank
come
you,
on
Jane.
here.
No, Janice, you can't leave. No. Janice cannot leave. She's staying
sorry,
in
Jane.
Titan. Goodbye.
Jane Beating is saying she can't come to Santa Cruz.
Any other questions?
No questions.
Angela, where
Oh, I
is the trailer?
In the chat.
Oh,
Where is the trailer now?
it's in.
And
Oh, there's
Oh.
Jane.
Yeah, Jane. Hi, Jane.
hi, honey. I've got a two-part question. Where is the trailer now? And when you're collaborating, is there a difference between found materials and materials from your studio?
So the trailer is in the driveway, and it's stationary now, and I'm hoping to use it for my teaching space because those of you who know me know I live in a pretty small place, and my studio is at home right behind me. My bed's on the other end, you know. So anyway, that's what the trailer, and I don't know what you mean with collaborating. Shelley and I collaborated. That was a really interesting process. Shelley, do you have anything to say about what it was like to collaborate with me?
Oh, well, I'm kind of bossy, so it was a little hard for me to kind of sit back and not, because I knew some things Angela didn't know, and I didn't want to just like say, you don't know it.
Yeah.
So it required me to just not, to just kind of go slow and sit back and wait. And I really did want to go to the hardware store. I cannot tell you how many times I wanted to go to the lumberyard and get some wood so we could fix this dang thing.
Yeah, that was really a really challenging. She was very diplomatic. It was kind of fun when we finished it. We were driving to LA for my niece got married Thanksgiving weekend, and she said, "Was I too bossy?" And I said, "Was I too bossy?" So I thought it was a pretty amazing experience. I mean, there were times where we were like button heads, and I was like, "I just wanted to do this," and she's like, "You can't do that until we do this and this and this and this and this," and I'm like, ah. I'm used to being in my studio alone, and I'm the boss of me. So it was a really a very interesting experience. I mean, we've been together long enough. I knew we could I trusted our relationship that we could do it. But it was very interesting for us to both build, because normally it's like I'm helping her build or she's helping me with something. But this was both of us. And so it was a great experience. I wouldn't do it again. It's very hard physical labor. Holy crap. Somewhere in the process, I became like one of those thin-skinned, you bump a nail and you're bleeding and spurting blood. My goal each day was no blood today. Okay, no blood, Angela, just no blood. So it was pretty challenging. I'm not, you know, like I said, I'm a jeweler. I work this big. You know?
Does that answer your question, Jane? Janie?
Is that what you wondered about collaborating?
Thank you.
Sure.
And then Shelby was wondering just a few more details. I think Lynda, your show is in 2022.
Yeah.
And what month? What are the dates and what museum?
I don't have an actual date, but it's going to be in October, and it'll run for about 6 months.
Oh, wow.
And it'll be in Memphis, Tennessee.
It's in Memphis, Tennessee.
Oh,
right
cool.
Yeah, at the National Metal Museum.
And we're all going to drive across country and
road trip.
RVs, campers.
Yeah, it's
Gary, meet us there.
Yeah, it's the only museum in the United States that shows only metalwork by like jewelers, metalsmiths, you know, goldsmiths, all the way up to blacksmiths. So
Yeah. Yeah, look them up.
Congratulations.
yeah, look at that
That's awesome.
website. It's a wonderful, it's
And
a
it's a
wonderful
huge
museum.
honor for Lynda. She's finally getting recognized. Well, not that she hasn't had recognition all her life, but this is
No, she hasn't had enough.
big honor.
recognition.
We're super proud of her and super excited for the project. There's going to be an amazing book.
Yeah.
Mark Destu, the designer, is on the Zoom right now. Hey, Mark. I don't see the photographer, but anyway, it's gonna be great, huh?
Can I just say a quick word? I just wanted to tell everyone in the program how fantastic it was. I'm so impressed with all the really creativity and the variety of everything that was shown. And I'm so glad I was able to be with all of you. I'm missing some of my daughter's great friends because I love coming to Santa Cruz and in Los Angeles, well, Woodland Hills. And it's nice that I got to see my daughter and to see all the work.
Aw.
I'm really impressed with everyone, really, and I miss everyone.
Thank you, Sharon.
We love
Nice
Sharon.
to be here.
She's mom to everybody.
I am.
And then it looks like Susan else had her hand raised.
I did. I have a question for Janet Fine. Can you tell us?
Is it if I'm going to go to the dog beach tomorrow?
Oh, no, that was already asked. That question was already resolved. No, I have a question. Can you tell us a little bit specifically on that day when we were all at the beach and you were taking those amazing photographs of the rack line, which made all those amazing profiles of all those characters? Can you tell us what was that made of? Because you talked about the fires, but what do we think the consisted of?
Oh no, I don't know.
No,
It's funny. I had this conversation with Claire when we were swimming in the ocean, and I see Claire is here too. Because we were talking about ash. It was definitely debris, but we were talking about what would float and what would it really be? What made the black lines? And I guess I just used it without knowing the scientific makeup.
Oh, no. But we thought it was from the fire, right?
Yeah, that's the whole,
I think it was charcoal.
Yeah.
I think it was charcoal.
That's carbon.
I think
carbon.
what's wrong with it.
Yeah.
Because there was so much ash that had settled on the water, and then that it weighed less and it filtered. It was beautiful the way it filtered it into those. And it seemed like, Janet, when I remember looking at you making it, that it was so cool because like a shell or a little piece of seaweed would cause the pile up of the dark line. Right. And then there'd be this contrast. And so I think there was a lot of the detritus of the ocean was combined with that to make that one. I mean, it's such, seeing the cumulative picture of you guys at the beach, it made it so powerful.
Somebody asked if I had done, nothing got altered in Photoshop. It's all was like that, and there'd be a shell, and the more I looked at it in my dark room, the more I would see actually like an eye from the shell, and like, and there's one guy who's smoking a cigarette that's hanging down, and oh my God,
coming up. I mean, it's amazing.
They do have a lot, but they were mostly, I like Jody's comment. Jody wrote that she just kept seeing politicians in the chat. That's why I called it that I did, because there are some sweet ones, but for the most part, there was a lot of kind of tricksters and all kinds of personalities. And I don't know if that was my mood or what, but I definitely saw a dark side to this besides the fires.
Janet, this is Dina. Can you send out a copy of what you said?
Yeah,
while you were showing that.
Yeah, the first part is in my statement, and it's in the Vic's beautiful website of the show. She put the gallery's
website.
The gallery, the gallery website has the first part of the statement. But I can email you the second thing that kind of talks
Yeah, I'd love to see it. It was wonderful. It's
Thank
wonderful.
you.
You
That-
all were so great.
That means a
Oh,
lot
good.
coming from an
Thank you.
amazing writer. Good.
So I'm still frozen. Are there any more questions?
Hi,
Beverly.
Beverly.
Beverly, you look really dark.
I
Good
missed you
job,
all.
Beverly.
You guys have done such a great job with the gallery. I really appreciate. I know
Yeah,
Rick and Bev
yeah.
have both been working so hard.
Yeah, you
to
Yeah.
keep this
Thank you.
lively.
You are amazing.
And if you are on Facebook or Instagram, they're constantly showing these wonderful vignettes of work juxtaposed with each other, and it's a really and this, I guess this and the last one will be on the website. So if you think somebody would enjoy it,
Yeah.
That's what I was gonna say. The other talk they had related to this show was also just amazing. So I would recommend going and watching that one.
We're gonna upload it really
Yeah.
soon. So look on this
Yeah.
on the page for this show on our website.
well, this is fun.
Is
It's
that
really
it for
fun that
questions?
You guys showed up. It's a lot more
Yeah,
fun
thank you.
knowing you're out
Yeah.
there.
Thanks, everybody.
Thank you
Hi,
everyone
I
for
have a
coming.
Right, so I just,
Thank you guys.
I have a
so much.
before,
question.
be-
I have a
Oh.
question.
So Bev has an announcement. No.
No, I have a question.
okay,
Oh,
Okay.
So did I
okay, if we have one
understand
more
from,
question that,
from something Victoria just said that both of this talk and the previous one, because I didn't get here until right in the middle,
oh,
they're
yeah.
both being taped and they're going to be available on the website?
Yes.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Yeah.
Hi,
This
Beth.
one might take
Hi.
a little while to get posted, but the other one will be there shortly.
Okay, great. Thanks a lot.
Thank
Yeah.
you so much. Loved it. Loved it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
thank
This
you
is
all for
so
coming.
good.
Thanks everyone.
So
Thank you all for
good.
coming.
So
And then I want to thank our presenters for explaining their artwork to us, because it makes it so much, it makes it just come to life and really explains the impetus behind what they did and how they work. And it adds so much. It's like light years from just looking at an image or a video to really know the process and the thoughts behind what they do. So I really want to thank our presenters for sharing their thoughts with us. It's been a real treat. And thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you.